Welcome back to Lineout Lab. My name is Peter O'Donnell. I have been putting together a few short clips from a webinar I did recently on building a lineout menu. So hopefully I don't have any copyright issues I've used a variety of clips and whatnot, but my videos are generally for education and discussion purposes. So hopefully there's no issues. So with that in mind, let's get into it. So yeah, one of the best mirror teams now is probably the All Blacks, and this is, you know, us from an under 20s game in recent years, and Aussies are going to do it it's a bit like a move that I kind of like to do, but Kiwis are generally really good mirror defenses, and I think where we can kind of catch teams out with mirrors are we often if we challenge them to if we get them to go forward, get them to bite forward, and then ask them to come back. And it's very hard for mirror defenses to do that as a collective, which is what, even though it's not perfectly good in terms of technique and all that, generally I think that's really hard for most teams to defend. Again, the mirror hinges are tend to be something we see probably the most. And I think the big thing is, sorry, the big thing with both of those systems is we're trying to get teams to go forward. If we get them to go forward and then jump in behind them, then I think it's really hard for them to defend. And this is again a couple of good examples of this, how Ireland do this against a really good mirror defense. So they're going to go forward. We're going to have a slip or an out where this, like, so I'd probably, this in my language, this would be, if I was using the beach, this would be an E out. If that makes sense. So if we look at green six, E is going to come forward, step. It's almost like a step, and that's why it's a nice progression. And then they jump in behind that. And because the Kiwis chase hard, look at Sam Whitelock in the middle, he is going to bite on that. And then instead of possibly him kind of going up or him getting ready to turn, he's not 100%. So Barrett goes to jump as well and behind, and we actually have two people in the air. So even though Ireland loses, annoyingly, it's an uncontested draw, but the movement was actually decent. Timing slightly off. So that's really important to recognize. And then you can kind of progress things. A similar sort of idea, but just slightly different movement. So again, exact same concept. Sorry, exact same idea. How we're trying to get them to bite forward and then jumping behind them. So slight variation terms now. We're looking to kind of come forward. Then we have a bit of a dummy, and he pops out, and we just want to get to the bite. So because it's going to be Bart who's now at the front here, they're down Whitelock in this game. So once that has once he bites in that first one, and then they jump just in behind him, it's really hard to defend that. Ironically, they tried the same strategy in Chicago November, and they kind of had two nights where that didn't really work. So the Kiwis and France had learned their lessons. And then again, similar sort of thing. Can we get them to turn? So get them to commit to the front and just challenge. We're now looking to challenge a five defenders. So sometimes you're trying to pick off one, you're trying to pick off the middleman. Other times then you might get him, even though he might turn, it's really the next two men you're trying to get. So in this example, we're really attacking the six and the three for the black team. Okay, so that's where you can kind of mix things up then and think of, well, we might want to target that second jumper, that third jumper, or depending on the system. And again, ultimately, one of the things I find very challenging defensively is, or what I like to try to do from an attack is to challenge defenses where they have to turn quickly, and I think that's always difficult. So if you look at again the black six, how hard it is for the six and the three to recognize, oh, sugar, yeah, it's me that has to go up here. So going back to this, in this case, the man the Irish scum cap was the H, and in this example, so he's just going to do. We'll see talk about a couple of nice little progressions as we kind of evolved, and this is towards the end of the season. But this is like we had done a step. Now it's not look, it's not technically brilliant in terms of efficiency. This the guy who ends up going up hadn't jumped a huge amount. He just come back from a long layoff and missed the whole year before that, and been injured this year. Um, but so we're not really, we haven't really sold the first movement that well in terms of a dummy, but we've gotten them to bite forward, which is what we're trying to do, and then we're trying to challenge the hinge to turn, and so we jump just in behind them, and we win the ball. This ends up being kind of mess of this, but it's the same concept. It's just done from a shift. So we kind of just have it's a kind of a shift, whereas we kind of go off this guy. We let him bite through and then go in behind. We just changed the picture a bit. We were kind of under pressure for jumpers, to be honest with you. So it doesn't look that crisp or clean. But it was kind of meant to be more of a walk and then a go. It wasn't meant to be that kind of, your man wasn't meant to kind of step back as much, um, just to make his jump a bit easier. And then we wanted him to try and it was like we still wanted to be quick, but it probably just probably weren't as crisp, but the same idea basically. But we kind of get an idea of what we're trying to do, which that actually just happened after I didn't get it from these guys. But I mean I take stuff from other people, so but this is kind of what we're trying to do. So we look at green five here, how he's kind of going to go through. And that's the same sort of thing. So you can kind of evolve your same movements, but just add in shifts and stuff like that. And then this is one that I've brought in this year. So this is now from 113, which is the same sort of concept. We kind of sell that, and then we kind of just go back. So instead of jumping just in behind, so we do this from an equal spaces, and we do this from a 113. So we kind of sell that first movement here, try and get to the bite. And you can see the backlifter there on the dummy. He's really committing there, and then he's going to go back 2 steps. He's meant to go back possibly one more. But anyway, it really challenges them. And we just call it a plus, like we're just going to go back an extra step basically. But so we're almost there. That's pretty much it. But generally, what's going to come up? I have a new program coming up in a few weeks. Sorry, next week, and then I'll be doing another webinar. Like I said at the start, on the Six Nations. I'm doing some stuff, some the Patreon stuff, and yeah, and my line of body stuff, a few things kind of on. So if there's anything you're interested in, feel free to reach out. Um, Typically the programs I'm doing, there could be, typically 4 to 6 weeks. So the next one is 4 weeks. It's around liner calling and developing that liner calling, both for coaches or players or for both. So it could be a coach and players, or it could just be a coach or a player. But looking just to develop that aspect, which is kind of brand. Actually a new program, so it's not there in the list because it is brand new. But those other ones will also be coming up soon too. So there we are. I hope it wasn't too fast, as I say, I'm conscious of time and kind of getting through a lot of things. But yeah, I think it's always good to finish with a quote and then yeah. Otherwise, thanks very much.